July 12th, 1987. A Sunday. London's Knightsbridge district, a place where the concentration of wealth per square meter defies logic. While ordinary Londoners are enjoying Sunday lunch, two men in impeccably tailored Italian suits approach the doors of the Knightsbridge safe deposit. This isn't just a bank, it's a fortress for the elite. This is where Saudi princes keep their diamonds, politicians hide secret documents, and Hollywood stars stash their cash. The men politely greet the security, show their IDs, and step inside. 1 hour later, they would walk out £60 million richer. Today, that's the equivalent of nearly $200 million. But the most fascinating part isn't how they did it. It's why the mastermind with all the money in the world walked right back into the hands of the police just 1 month later. Today, we're breaking down the story of Valerio Vixay, the man who robbed London for the sake of a car. Valerio Vixay wasn't your average street thug. He was born in Italy to a respected lawyer's family. His life was supposed to be stable and prestigious, but Valerio chose the path of the lone wolf. By the age of 30, he already had over 50 bank robberies under his belt in Italy. He had a specific style: no violence unless absolutely necessary, perfect suits, and a hunger for luxury. When the Italian police finally began closing in, he did what any gentleman thief would do. He moved to London. To Valerio, Britain looked like paradise. High society, conservative police, and a total lack of his name in the Scotland Yard databases. The detail. Arriving in London, he didn't lay low. Instead, he rented a luxury apartment in Chelsea and began living the life of a playboy. That's when he spotted the Knightsbridge deposit. He was struck by how the security was so confident in their system that they grew dangerously relaxed. Vixay knew that storming a fortress like this from the outside was suicide. He had to walk through the front door. For weeks, he visited the bank as a client, renting locker #354. Every time he went down to the vault, he wasn't checking his papers. He was counting steps. He was timing security shifts. He was mapping the blind spots of the cameras. The twist. Valerio discovered a critical vulnerability. The vault was protected by high-tech motion sensors, but they were turned off during business hours while clients were inside. He also noticed that the manager, Paris Constantinides, had a profound respect for high-status clients. Vixay assembled his team a mix of Italian pros and British muscle. The plan was simple. Enter as clients, take the manager hostage, and let the rest of the gang in through the service entrance. July 12th. Valerio and an accomplice walk into the bank. They ask to be escorted to their locker. The moment the heavy armored doors swing shut, they draw their weapons. No screaming, no panic. Vixay tells the manager, "I'm not here for your life. I'm here for your money. Be smart." While the guards are tied up, Valerio hangs a sign on the bank's front door. Safe deposit temporarily closed for technical reasons. Then, the chaos began. The gang had only a couple of hours. They didn't know what was in which locker, so they simply smashed them open with sledgehammers and crowbars. Locker 1, stacks of cash. Locker 2, a diamond necklace worth $1 million. Locker 3, cocaine and secret documents, which the gang simply tossed onto the floor. They took so much that their getaway van sagged under the weight of the metal and cash. When they left, the vault floor was literally carpeted in banknotes that didn't fit into their bags. The police were stunned. This was the largest robbery in British history at the time. Scotland Yard had 0 leads. The thieves worked in gloves and masks. But even professionals slip up. While prying open a safe, one of the gang members accidentally sliced his hand on a sharp edge of jagged metal. A single drop of blood hit the floor. In 1987, DNA testing wasn't what it is today, but it allowed them to identify a rare blood group and specific markers. Detective Dick Leach began cross-referencing everyone who had recently rented a locker. When he saw the name of an Italian with a suspicious past, The puzzle pieces fell into place. Police raided Vixay's apartment, but all they found were empty boxes from luxury goods. Valerio was already in Latin America. He had the millions. He had won. This is where the story turns into a Greek tragedy. Valerio Vixay was in Brazil. There was no extradition treaty with Britain. He was free, and he was incredibly rich. But he had one weakness. In London, in a locked garage, he had left his baby, a bright red Ferrari Testarossa. It was the ultimate symbol of his success. He couldn't stand the thought of the police seizing it or the car simply rotting away. Against all logic, and despite the pleas of his associates, Valerio returned to London in August 1987 using a fake passport. He thought the police had cooled off. He was wrong. Scotland Yard knew about his obsession. They were waiting at the garage. As soon as Valerio sat behind the wheel of his Ferrari and turned the key in the ignition, several unmarked cars blocked his path. When Detective Leach approached the car window, Vixay simply smiled and said, "You did a good job." Valerio Vixay was sentenced to 22 years in prison. During the trial, he acted like a rock star, giving interviews and winking at the cameras. The great mystery: the police only recovered a fraction of the loot. Roughly £40 million vanished forever. Legends say the money is still hidden in the basements of Italian villas or laundered through offshore accounts. Valerio died in the year 2000 during a gunfight with police in Italy, where he had been transferred to serve his term. He died exactly as he lived, with a gun in his hand and a thirst for adrenaline. He could have been the richest fugitive in the world. Instead, he chose his car. What would you choose? $60 million or loyalty to your passion? Let us know in the comments.